Before getting started, it is very important to know the difference between being lonely and being alone. Being lonely refers to the feeling of being abandoned, sad because you're isolated, whereas being alone just means being by yourself. Now, the reason this is important is because a lot of people tend to misunderstand when they see people alone. People automatically assume that since you are alone, you are also lonely, which is not the case at all. I have even witnessed situations where people think that the person who wants to be alone is depressed or emotionally stressed. Of course, there are people who do not like to be alone at all and get depressed because of this. But more often than not, people just want to be alone, and there's nothing wrong with that. Of course, there are people who do not like to be alone at all and get depressed because of this. In this article, I will be addressing 8 special personality traits that only people who like to be alone have. 1. You're an introvert. This might be overstating, but one of the main personality traits that people who like to be alone is that they are introverts. Do you identify yourself as a loner? If yes, then your most pronounced personality trait is introversion. Studies have shown that, as an introvert, you are very sensitive to dopamine, or happy hormone, when you experience prolonged social exposure. This means that the stimulation that comes from dopamine can actually overwhelm you and drain all of your energy. So, to avoid feeling overwhelmed by the stimulus from dopamine, you try to be alone whenever you can. 2. You usually have less energy than others. Are you usually one of the first persons to leave social events? This is one of the signs that you are someone who likes to be alone. As a loner, you usually have less energy than others. And this is the reason why you prefer to sit on your couch and relax by yourself while watching TV or having deep thoughts. As a point of comparison, people who like to be in company usually get energized after doing group activities or other things that you would consider energy-consuming. So, the difference in energy levels between you, who prefers to be alone, and people who prefer to be surrounded by others is very noticeable. 3. Your self-awareness is high. How well do you know yourself? As a loner, you like to spend a lot of time by yourself and focus on your feelings and thoughts. Fully becoming aware of how you feel and think is very important for you, since this allows you to understand yourself and others better. This also allows you to address your strengths and weaknesses to improve yourself and plan your goals accordingly. 4. You value time. How highly do you value time? If you're someone who likes to spend time alone, you probably value time very highly, to the point where you could consider it the most important asset to achieve success. Because of this, you are someone who hates being late to events or meetings, as well as wasting other people's time and vice versa. This results in you having good time management skills, and avoiding doing trivial things, or spending time on things that you feel will not be fruitful. 5. You are forgiving. Are you someone who hates holding grudges against others? As someone who likes to be alone, one of your best special traits is that you are forgiving. The amount of time that you spend knowing yourself, with all the strengths and weakness, also allow you to understand that no one in the world is perfect. Being aware that everyone makes mistakes allows you to forgive others more quickly. Of course, this does not mean that you are willing to be abused. 6. You are extremely loyal. Would you say that your closest circle of friends is big or small? Having a small circle of friends is, as you might already deduce, typical for someone who likes to be alone. But the reason for having a small circle of friends does not have anything to do with not being liked, or not liking other people. Rather, it emphasizes the fact that you look for meaningful and trustworthy relationships with a carefully selected group of people. And of course, you will value and cherish these relationships, no matter how good or bad things are going. Your friends most likely know that you are one of the most loyal friends they could have. 7. You're a great listener and open-minded. Although it might sound contradictory, people who like to be alone are very open-minded. Are you someone who loves to listen to others when they talk? When you are talking with someone else, you do not feel the need to share your thoughts and feelings because you already focus on these when you are alone. As such, you focus your efforts on listening to what others are saying and always keep an open mind to different considerations and alternatives. 8. You're emotionally independent. Can you imagine finding happiness and validation by yourself? One of your special personality traits is that you're emotionally independent. Although being surrounded by good people helps you a lot, you do not need others to find your own happiness. Can you imagine finding happiness and validation by yourself? Being emotionally independent is why you like being alone, while others do not. Many people can only find happiness and validation when surrounded by others. Needless to say, these people will hate being by themselves. On the other hand, you are someone who is comfortable finding everything you need within yourself. So, if you like being alone, you most likely are emotionally independent. To conclude, and I would like to emphasize this, wanting to be alone and liking it is not bad at all. There have been too many situations where people decide to go to an event simply because they do not want to look bad or give a bad impression. People who like being alone will most likely have all the personality traits I mentioned in this article, and many more, so don't be afraid of what others think when you want to be alone.